Gary with Bench Dog Studio. Welcome to the shop. I've got a Delta benchtop 6-inch joiner that I've used for at least a few decades, but never got around to purchasing a planer. Well, I finally decided it was about time to get a planer. My budget was in the $1,000 or under area, and there are plenty of options to consider. Of course, DeWalt was near the top of the list as the popular choice, but it has standard blades, not the helical head that I would prefer. In addition to a straight planer, I also considered a combo machine. This would be a joiner and planer together. A lot of combo machines are available, but almost none that fit my budget until now. At a price of $9.95, the G0959 from Grizzly seems too good to be true, and even more so considering it also has a helical cutting head. With a 12-inch cutting capacity, I was all but sold. Searching the web yielded only Grizzly marketing videos, none from a third party or other woodworker, as this was a newer model. I sat on my decision for a few months and finally decided it was worth taking a chance on. I ordered direct from Grizzly and it was delivered 4 days later. I did a quick review of the manual and didn't find any specific instructions on unboxing it. The same manual covers both the 12-inch G0959 and the G0958, which is an 8-inch version of the same tool at about half the price. Upon opening the box, I found that it was almost completely assembled. Just a few steps would be required to get it into working conditions. It seemed pretty well packaged, but at 86 pounds it was a little challenging to get out of the styrofoam. Turns out the feet had embedded themselves and needed some wiggling to come out. I reviewed the few parts that came with it. First off were a couple of Allen wrenches and a mystery red box. A small bag of screws and a height adjustment knob with some plastic stuck on it. This proved a real pain to get off, which I spent many minutes on later trying to remove all the plastic and still couldn't remove it all. This is one area I would definitely say they could improve on. Another bag had an Allen wrench, a few screws and washers, a handle, and a curved nut. The cord is tucked inside along with the fence, and the hood was packed separately in the box. I opened the mystery red box and found 5 spare cutters for the cutting head. This was a nice touch to include these. The fence connection is pretty simple, just 2 screws and washers. One of them threaded in easily, but the other was offering a lot of resistance. I finally had to remove the partially attached fence, screw the thread fully in and back out, which proved a bit hard, but after this first time I was then able to screw it in with the fence in place with little difficulty. It almost seems as if the whole threads weren't cleanly cut. It was obvious that the handle went on the fence, and the curved nut was a logical choice to fit here. I checked the manual once again to ensure I didn't miss a step, but this part is not listed in the manual, and the images in there show this handle and nut already in place. With the fence installed, it was basically fully assembled. There are a couple of clips on the back that hold a cord. I turned it around and went to work on the height adjustment handle. Clippers, pliers, and finally a knife were all used to try to clear away the packing material. After getting it close, I finally just accepted it wasn't going to get any better without risking damage to the knob. As a size reference, my entire old joiner fits on about 1/2 of the outfeed table. The raising and lowering seem to be indexed with the feeling of a bunch of detents when cranking it up or down. In general, the movement was pretty smooth with a little bump at each detent, and the depth of the unit can handle over 6-inch thick boards. The helical cutting head looked as expected, and I would think the cutters should be fairly easy to swap out when the time comes. Multiple sides are sharpened so you can rotate each one a few times before needing to replace. There is a small thumb screw that raises a little metal nub. This is used to hold a pivoting cutter head guard out of the way when using the planer function, since the dust hood must be installed to operate it, as it doubles as an alternate blade guard. For the jointing function, the maximum cutting depth is 1/16 of an inch, although for wider boards I take more shallower passes. To check if the tables are coplanar, I use a straight edge on the outfeed table and a ruler edge to test the infeed table. Sure, it's not as scientific or accurate as using feeler gauges or some other way of measuring, but my method was enough to show they were very close to coplanar. Perfect? I wouldn't say so, but for most woodworking purposes the tolerance should be fine. The unit will not power on if the dust catcher / blade guard is not in place. There are sensors which detect if it is installed and prevent power from being applied until it is. Installing it to use in joiner mode requires positioning it under the cutter head, however it just didn't seem to want to lock into place and kept sagging. After some playing around, I determined that raising the cutting deck of the planer is what holds it in place, while the two clips lock in and allow the unit to power on. I checked the manual for any other adjustments, and while there are a number of things you can adjust, I didn't see anything relevant to the hood. Before turning it on and testing it, I checked the fence. It certainly was not at 90 degrees to the table, but there are sufficient adjustments that with a bit of tweaking you can get it to 90, and then it seems to hold that pretty well. Sure, it's aluminum, not cast iron, but getting a combo unit that's all cast iron is a big jump in price. I went ahead and tested 45, again fairly easy to set, and then ran it back to 90, which was much easier to get the second time. You can see that if the clip for the hood is removed, the unit will not power on. With the clip in place, it powers on just fine. It's also fairly loud at around 90 decibel, but then again, most joiners and planers are around this level. So it's time to see just how well it cuts. A simple joiner cut should do the trick for my first test. I found a scrap board with a rough edge as the test subject. A few passes and I was pleased with the cuts. Since I had no dust collection running, I was able to check out the shavings that were and were not captured. A quick look at the specs as printed right on the machine shows a 1.5 power motor running at 8,500 RPM with the planer running at 22 feet per minute as a feed rate. At first I thought the changeover from planing to jointing or back would be a cumbersome process, but it takes just about a minute and involves mostly 2 steps. Relocate the blade guard / dust collector and move the fence. A good additional step would be to verify the fence is back to 90 at least the first few times until you're certain the 90-degree stop is accurate in holding its position. If you like this video, be sure to like, subscribe, and click the bell to be notified of future Benchdog Studio videos. Overall, I'm quite pleased with my purchase, and like my previous joiner, I hope to get at least a few decades of use out of this combo machine.